ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So we are seeing here the conversations between Vidura and Maitreya Rishi. Vidura has been inquiring about the creation from Maitreya Rishi, and Maitreya Rishi in turn was explaining in terms of how Brahma started creating, beginning from the birth of Brahma, and that is what we were seeing, how Brahma prayed for the creative energy of the Lord. Now, Vidura wants to know about another very powerful energy of the Lord called as Kala. So he wants to know from Maitreya Rishi about details of different physical manifestation, till what time the universe is manifested, after what time it becomes dissolved, till what time the atoms remain and atoms are dissolved, till what time the human body remains and then finally it is annihilated, because the time is relative. Everybody is living for their 100 years. We are also living practically for, according to the Vedic literature, our 100 years. Ant is also living its 100 years. 100 years of ours, 100 years of Brahma, 100 years of a small ant is not the same. It is relative. But in our understanding, we are living our 100 years, and it is a good span for us. Ant is also thinking, I am living a very long life. But we know ant is living a very small life. Few days it is there, and after some days it is dead. But in that days, it has already produced children, growth, everything has gone, isn't it? So, Vidura wants to know the details of this creation and annihilation, which is controlled by eternal time. So he wants to know about this supreme energy of the Lord called as time, Kala, isn't it? So we will try to understand about this today, today's purport. Here, Vidura is beginning to first of all point out that Kala is one of the forms of the Lord. Just like the Supreme Lord assumes his eternal forms, Vamana Rupa, Narsimha Rupa, like that, one of the form of the Supreme Lord is Kala. Kala is manifestation of which form of the Lord? Impersonal form of the Lord. Anyone else? By which form the Lord witnesses all actions of living entities, sanctions all actions of living entities. Paramatma, right? Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. Upadrashta and Anumanta. That is the work of Paramatma. He is the supreme witness and sanctioner of all our activities. That same Paramatma, who is actually a feature of the material world, the feature of Paramatma does not exist in the spiritual world. It's not that in the spiritual world the Lord is situated in everyone's heart. It is an arrangement of the Lord for this material world. So, Paramatma witnesses everything, sanctions everything from its energy called as Kala. The Supreme Lord is personally witnessing all our activities, everything, through his energy called as Kala. And this Kala is described as destructive form of Krishna. The most destructive form of the Lord can be called as Kala. Which is that verse in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, I am that destructive force, Kala. That is Mrityu. Kala also takes the form of annihilation in the form of death, no doubt. Krishna personally says, I am Kala. Kalosmi lokashaya krita pravardho. It's a very interesting verse. When the Lord shows his universal form, and when the Lord is showing to Arjuna that all these people whom you are thinking that you will not fight and you will not kill them, you don't worry. Even if you don't kill them, according to the time, according to Kala, they are already killed. They will be vanquished. So when the Kala will unfold, you may become instrument, you may not become instrument. That is different. That is your free will. But what is destined by Kala is that these people, these Kauravas, they will be vanquished. And Krishna is showing in his universal form. Arjuna was able to see all these great warriors, everybody is devastated. Everybody is devoured by the Supreme Lord in his form as Kala. So then Krishna is saying, when Arjuna became very afraid that who are you in this devastating form? And then Krishna is saying, you don't fear, because I am devastating force not for you, not for the Pandavas. It's only for these sinful Kauravas. So Krishna says there, Kalo asmi, time I am. Prabhupada translates. Kalo asmi, time I am. Loka shayakrita. What is shayakrita? What is the meaning of Shaya? What is Akshaya? We say Akshaya Patra. Akshaya. Shaya means which is vanquished, finished, is called Shaya. Akshaya means which is not vanquished. Shayakrita means to destroy, to vanquish. To vanquish what? Loka. All this world. Kalosmi, I am the time destroyer of world. Lokashaya krita pravardho means great. So Prabhupada translates, time I am the great destroyer of the world. See, so this is the devastating form of the Lord. All destructive form of the Lord is Kala. And that is why, in Hindi there is a proverb, when somebody is destined to die, we say, Iska kaal aa gaya hai. His kala has come near. Isn't it? We say like that. That means he will be finished, he will be vanquished now. And that is what the Supreme Lord is saying, Kalosmi. I am that time. And what is the work of the time? What is the symptom, lakshana of the time? Time is meant for destruction in this material world. Now, very simple logic we can see here. In the spiritual world, there is no work for Paramatma, first of all. The Supreme Lord is present there with everyone. There is no distinction between the body and the soul. Here there is a distinction. We have the soul is inside, body is outside. We have to give up the body. We have to give up this material mind. But in the spiritual world, there is no duality like this. So there is no work for Paramatma like that. The Paramatma does not have to witness your activities, isn't it? He doesn't have to sanction some activities. Everything is spontaneous in the spiritual world. Everything is completely purified. So, Paramatma is not existing. Therefore, he is another feature of time. Time is meant for witnessing, sanctioning and destroying. So that is also not existing. So time does not exist in the spiritual world. What does time create? Time creates past for us and future for us. Right? There is a past. All of us have got past. When we are in this material world, all of us have got some past. Not only the past when we were born and today we are, the past from many, many lives. Anadi karma phale. Many, many lives we have been creating karma and we have been existing in many, many different bodies. So what is the factor of time creates? It creates past, present and future for us. So in the spiritual world, there is no past, there is no present or future, anything like that. Everything is eternal. When we say there is past, when we say there is... And even for the Supreme Lord, when He descends here, from our relative term, there may be past. But actually there is no past for Him. But in order to give us understanding, the Lord says, in the past I existed, in the future I exist. Krishna is telling to Arjuna, in the past I spoke Bhagavad Gita to Sun God. This is in the material world, Krishna is telling. Because it is relative to us. But what is the difference? What is the effect past had on the Lord? And what is the effect past had on Arjuna? This is the distinction, Prabhupada explains. Even though time is manifesting in this world, when the Lord descends, time has no effect on the Lord. See? So how is it different? How was the time different for the Lord and how is the time different for Arjuna? Vyas Maharishi. Garuda Dwaja. Anantarupa. Yes. Because we are living entities, we are changing our bodies in this material manifestation. The moment we change our body, we forget. Correct? So Arjuna did not remember, and Arjuna was wondering, my dear Lord, we are contemporaries. We were born nearly together. And you are saying millions of years back you spoke Bhagavad Gita to Sun God. I am not able to understand this. So then Krishna is saying that both of us have taken many, many births. Difference is you forget, I don't forget. So that means the time had no effect on the Supreme Lord. Even though he has taken so many births, he has come so many times, he is still remembering what happened in the past. Because he never changes his body. So the time factor has no effect on the Supreme Lord. Time factor does not exist in the spiritual world. It exists in the material world only for the conditioned living entities. And even when the Supreme Lord manifests, still the time has no effect on him. So this is what we should understand. Kunti Maharani also says the same thing. What the Lord is saying personally in Bhagavad Gita, Kunti Maharani also addresses the Supreme Lord as Kala. Anyone remembers that verse in Kunti Maharani's prayer? Raghuttama. Surat Krishna. Manye tvam kalam ishanam anadi nidhanam vibhum. And Prabhupada explains all these are not only applicable to the Supreme Lord, all these are applicable even to eternal time. So first of all she is saying, I think manye tvam kalam, I understand you to be the eternal time. I consider your Lordship to be eternal time. And what is that eternal time? Ishanam. Ishanam means the Supreme Controller. Actually, it is the time which is controlling everything in this material manifestation. This impersonal energy of the Lord in the form of time is controlling every activity in this material world. So, Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam, you are eternal time and the Supreme Controller. Anadi Nidhanam Vibhum. Anadi means, actually in the material manifestation, we know that out of the 5 subjects of Bhagavad Gita, only karma is considered to be not eternal. It can be terminated. But Kala is considered to be eternal. Why it is eternal? Manifestation of the material world may be temporary, but this manifestation is eternally going on. You see? This energy of the Lord is eternal. The Kala energy of the Lord is eternal. That is not temporary. Only the manifestation of Kala, manifestation of Prakriti, this cosmic manifestation may be temporary. But this energy of the Lord, Kala, that is eternal. Nobody can trace out where was the beginning of creation, where it ends. When this creation started, when it is going to end. It is going on in cycle. It is eternally going on in cycle. Nobody can figure out. You see? So that is why it is said it is eternal. So, Anadi Nidhanam means there is no end to time and there is no Anadi. There is no beginning of time. Time is always there in this cosmic manifestation. And Vibhum means it is all pervasive. So just like the Paramatma, the Supreme Lord, Prabhupada explains in that purport that another name of Paramatma is Kala. Eternal time is the witness of all our actions, good or bad, and thus resultant reactions are destined by him in the form of Kala. You see, so this is what we can understand. How do the devotees understand this feature of the Supreme Lord, the most devastating feature of the Supreme Lord? How do the devotees take this feature of the Lord? Actually, for a devotee, there is no difference. Whether he exists in the framework of Kala or out of the frame of Kala, there is no difference for a devotee of the Lord. Just like Prabhupada used to give that example of one sage who gave different benedictions to different people. Let me see how many of you remember. What benediction did that sage, great sage, give to princely order, a young prince, Rajputra? Chiramjiva, right? So he gave him benediction, better you live forever. Why did he give him that benediction? Yes. Human life is actually meant for God realization, but he was, from his good karma, he was living a luxurious life, which was actually meant to be utilized in service of God. All these arrangements were given so that he can utilize. Isn't it? Luxuries, everything were given. But unfortunately, he is living a lavish life, and after death, everything will be vanquished and he will suffer in hellish life. So better you live this life luxuriously for more time. Chiram Jiva. Isn't it? Then, what is the benediction this sage gave to a butcher? Okay, before that, what did the benediction he gave to a brahmachari? So for a princely order he gave, better you live forever. For the brahmachari, what did he give? Better you die. Why you die? You are living a life of austerity, you have performed enough of austerity. Now there is, after death, there will be pleasure for you, happiness, whatever, he will get a good birth, all those things. So better you die, finish off this austerity now, enough of this austerity, now you live. After that you will live better life. So that is for a brahmachari. Then, for a butcher, what is the benediction he gave? Ma jiva, ma mara. Don't live, don't die also. Why? Because there is no difference. You are living in hell, after death also you are going to live in hell. So what is the difference? You are already living in hell, after death also you will go to hell. So you don't live also, you don't die also, because both are same for you. And for a sadhu, for a devotee, he gave a benediction, Jivova Marova. Doesn't matter for you, you die or you live, for you also there is no difference. Why? Because when you are living in the material world, you are living for the pleasure of the Lord, you are living for service of the Lord. And when you die, where will you go? Again to serve the Lord. So there is no difference. So actually for a devotee, there is no difference. He is living in hell, he is living in heaven, he is living in spiritual world, there is no difference. In today's conversation, we see that somebody asked Prabhupada, you said that, because of your devotees, all these things you will be living in hell. Prabhupada says, no, who said? Isn't it? Chandanacharya. One time, Srila Prabhupada, you said, I will go to hell, but none of your disciples accepted that. Prabhupada, no, I am not in hell. I am with the devotees. So how can I say I am in hell? Narottam Das Thakur says, Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevas. My duty is to serve my Guru and live with the devotees. That is Krishna's grace. My mission is to serve my Guru but live with the devotees. This is my desire, life after life. Bhakta does not aspire, he is going to Vaikuntha, never mind. But their only desire is to serve the predecessor Acharya and live with the devotees. That's all. And then Prabhupada explains that actually Krishna, where does he live? Krishna is saying, I am not staying in the heart of a yogi, I am not in Vaikuntha. I can be found wherever my devotees are glorifying. So actually wherever Krishna is there, wherever devotees are glorifying the Lord, the Supreme Lord is present there. So then Prabhupada is saying, just like Krishna can expand everywhere, his eternal Dhama, Vaikuntha or Vrindavana can also expand. So even in hell, if a devotee is living, we should understand, if the devotee is glorifying the Lord, he is not living in hell, he is living in Vaikuntha. So, for a devotee there is no distinction. How he takes Kala is not like a karmi. This is the distinction. Prabhupada used to give an example. When the cat in its mouth, when it is holding a rat, and when in the same mouth cat is holding its own kitten, there is a lot of difference in the feeling. From external viewpoint, it looks like the same. Right? Looks like the same. Same jaws are there, same teeth are there, but one is feeling warmth and pleasure and protection, and another is feeling death, so much fear. So how much difference is there? The same Kala, when it unfolds towards a devotee, the devotee is not feeling that effect. And the same Kala, when it unfolds its effect on karmis, they feel that fear. They feel the real pangs of suffering as the Kala is unfolding. So there is a lot of difference. How a devotee takes Kala, manifestation of Kala, and how a karmi takes, how people take. So one very beautiful example, what we can find in Srimad Bhagavatam, is in the first canto, where when Bhishma was on the deathbed and he was about to leave his body, and at that time he gave very beautiful, very instructive instructions. And the Lord wanted everyone to hear those instructions. And that is why he had arranged that. And there he is seeing, and he is saying, he is seeing Pandavas, Maharaj Yudhishthira, he is saying, see this, he is none other but Dharma personified. You see, he is giving the example. Who is Maharaj Yudhishthira? He is Dharma personified. Pandavas are all under the protection of Dharma. Spiritually elevated souls. And then he is saying, over and above that, the Supreme Lord is personally present. Dharma personified is there. All kinds of spiritual advancement is there. All prowess, everything is present. And over and above, the Supreme Lord, Father of Dharma himself is present. But in spite of that, we are seeing the reverses in the life of the Pandavas. How much Kunti Maharani suffered, how much the Pandavas suffered. So, Bhishma Pitama is saying, by this don't we understand that this is the manifestation of eternal time. And there Prabhupada explains what is the meaning of devotee understanding that this is the manifestation of time means it is the wish of the Lord, arrangement of the Lord, manifestation of Kala for a devotee. Even though there is apparent suffering, it is the wish of the Lord. You see, this is what a devotee takes. What is the manifestation of Kala for a devotee? If there is a suffering for a devotee, one should understand it is the wish of the Lord. Why? Because personally we can see the Supreme Lord is directly present with the Pandavas. In His presence, if there is suffering to the Pandavas, what does it mean? It is the wish of the Lord that they suffer. He has a higher reason for why they should suffer. And the devotees are also accepting, Pandavas are also accepting that. And after accepting that, what is happening? Their attachment to the Lord is increasing. This shows that actually this is a wish of the Lord. It's not that when sufferings are unfolding because of the Kala, it's not that the Pandavas are forgetting the Lord. My dear Lord, what is happening? Please don't do all these things. We will be, we'll be forgetting you. No. Their attachment towards the Lord is increasing more and more. So, it's a very interesting verse. We'll just read that verse. We'll finish that and see these things. Very beautiful purport. Maybe sometimes you can try to go through that purport. It's the 15th verse in the 9th chapter. Yatra Dharma Suto Raja. Who is Dharma Sutta? Maharaj Yudhishthir. He is the son of Dharma. Yatra Dharma Suto Raja Gada Panir Vrikodaraha. Who is Gada Pane Vrikodaraha? Great fighter Bhima. Krishno Astri Gandivam Chapam. And a great fighter with his bow in his hand, Gandiva. Who is that? Great bowman, Arjuna. Suhrit Krishna Tato Vipat. And the best well-wisher, who is always wanting good of his devotee. You see? See how these two words are used. Suhrit, even though Suhrit is present, Vipada. Still sufferings were present for the Pandavas. So, translation, Prabhupada translate. Oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reverses in presence of King Yudhishthira, the son of the demigod controlling religion? Bhima, the great fighter with a club, the great bowman Arjuna with his mighty weapon Gandiva, and above all, the Lord, the direct well-wishers of the Pandavas. So, Prabhupada is very nicely explaining in the purport. It's very interesting. As far as material or spiritual resources were required, there were no scarcity in case of Pandavas. Very beautiful purport. Material resources and spiritual resources were abundant for Pandavas. Why material resources? What were the material resources they had? What is the material resources described by Bhishma here? Great fighters. Isn't it? Bhima is a great fighter. Arjuna is a great fighter. This is a material resource. And what is the spiritual resource? Dharmaraj, Yudhishthira. Right? What else? Personally, Suhrit, the Supreme Lord personally. So they had material resource in abundance, spiritual resource in abundance. Materially they were well equipped because two great fighters, Bhima and Arjuna, were there. Spiritually, the king himself, the symbol of religion, and above all of them, personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna was personally concerned with their affairs as well-wisher. And yet, there were so many reverses on the side of Pandavas. And then Prabhupada says, he defines this in concise words. Despite the power of pious acts, how these great resources, how material resources come? Great pious acts, correct? If you want to be a great warrior, you want great opulence, great wealth, name, fame, how they will come? By pious acts. Despite the power of pious act, power of personalities, power of expert management, and power of weapons, under the direct supervision of Lord Krishna, the Pandavas suffered so many practical reverses, which can only be explained as influence of Kala, inevitable time. Kala is identical with the Lord himself, and influence of Kala indicates inexplicable wish of the Lord himself. This is what a devotee understands. It is the wish of the Lord that even though he is personally present, even though all good opulences, all powers, power of management, power of good karma, everything is present, great warriors are present. In spite of that, if there are reverses, then one should understand it is the wish of the Lord. The wish of the Lord is acting through Kala. So, this is how a devotee should take the manifestation of Kala in his life. When we find reverses in our life, we should always understand that to be the wish of the Lord. Even though we may try everything, they also tried everything. They had the power, they tried with their power. In spite of that, they had reverses. So, in spite of our best trying to protect ourselves from the influence of Kala, from the suffering, if we still find suffering and reverses in our life, we should understand that to be the manifestation of wish of the Lord, will of the Lord. So, we'll stop with this. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.